Greetings, Palian housing enthusiasts. Welcome to today's video. That, if I'm being perfectly honest, I have been flipping back and forth on whether or not to do, but you know, here we are. So welcome to Obstacle Flicking with Tiny Dragon. Part of the reason why I have been hesitant about doing this tutorial is I normally don't like doing a tutorial unless either A, it's my own work, or B, I have something to contribute to the conversation, or C, I've been requested to do the tutorial. So this happens to be a kind of a combo dish. For those that are unaware, the Lillian Games has recently released 2 very well done tutorials on obstacle flicking that I highly recommend people check out. I will link them both in the video description. So whether or not you want to pause the video here or not, I will be going over the basics of obstacle flicking, so don't worry, you don't need to go and check those out. But that being said, her videos do have value. I won't be going over the things that she talks about. But before we go any further, you know, we're gonna have a quick word from myself. Take it away, me. Hi everyone. Let's be honest, I'm never good at this. So let's just jump in. If you've enjoyed the content on this channel and would like to support it, please see the Ko-Fi link in the video description. Donations help with things like acquiring landscapes for testing and troubleshooting purposes, along with keeping the Twitch streams ad-free. Alright, now with that awkward business out of the way, let's get to today's tutorial. Just a tiny sidebar before we get started. To all my very treasured Switch users, I'm sorry this video is not for you. If you're unfamiliar with obstacle flicking in its current state, it is not Switch friendly. I'm very sorry. Hopefully in the future it will become as much, and you're very welcome to stay for the video, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that it's not. Alright fam, so normally, you guys know me, I like to do a bit of like a materials list before we go. Now, due to the nature of what we're doing today, it's gonna be a bit freeform, and I do apologize for that. Instead of doing the materials list, we have some other prep work that we need to do first, because for obstacle flicking to work, we need to fiddle with our settings. So I did take the liberty of resetting my settings so we could set it up together. So for starters, we're going to go into our graphic settings, and just to make it very easy, if your computer can handle Epic on everything, do that. And then we're going to go over to advanced, and where it has the frame rate limit, we're going to change that from 240 down to 30. And that's just because if you're just learning, that makes it the easiest. As you get more and more used to it, you can push this number up. But if you're just starting out, you definitely want to be at 30. Alright, after that, we're going to want to go over to the control settings, and then go to key binding. The first key bind we want to change outright is action bar item use. And this one we want to rebind from left click to P. It may tell you that a player menu has been unbound. Don't worry, it won't affect you. That it's a duplicate hotkey. The player menu is the same thing as your inventory tab. So, you're fine. Personally, I have that set to tab anyway. Alright, so after that, we're going to scroll all the way down. And we're going to find Move Item. It's under the Placement Mode area. And this one we're going to leave key 1 alone, but we're going to give it a key 2. And this one we're going to put as V. Or I'm going to put it as V. You can put it as anything you want. But personally, I, along with many other people, prefer V just because it's comfortable. And also, because for move, we also need confirm move. And there we go. Those are the 3 hotkeys that you need to change. If you don't change those, the glitch doesn't seem to work for whatever reason. Alright, now we're all set and good to go. Okay, so before I get into the craziness, I figured that we should go over the basics of obstacle flicking, along with a little trick that I've found to make obstacle flicking a little bit easier for myself, and it involves an item that personally has caused me a lot of annoyance, which is the builder's stone floor. But more on that in a second. So, obstacle flicking. What is it exactly? Obstacle flicking is a method in which we can flick something out of our inventory and merge it either with another item, wall, what have you. And the reason why it's called obstacle flicking is that you used an obstacle between you and where you were going as like an intermediary. Now, through testing, I kind of came to the realization that all that's really necessary is having the something is in the way message. So nothing needs to be between you and the other item or wherever you're going. So having that knowledge in hand, we do have an item that 80% of the time, it's always saying something is in the way. Builder's stone floor. Which, you know, normally is annoying. But now it's kind of useful. And now, the trick is, and I'll stop talking because I won't actually do the trick. I'm just going to I'll press the number key a few times, and then I'll go and then I'll slow down the footage so people can like see what's happening. The purpose of that was that there should have been a frame where it was yellow. And what we are trying to do is catch when the system is reading it as yellow. And when it's yellow, we're good to go, and it's going to place. And now, this is where I was messing up on a lot of the time, is Voidness found through her testing that you need to left click before you press your number key, which sounds weird, I know. And that's why I have, like, on the screen, you can see my key input so you see how fast it happens. And just a note, it probably isn't going to work the first time, and that's okay. And that's something to remember with flicking, is it seldom works the first time, especially when you're learning. So let's go. Yep. And this is also, sorry, just a note, this one comes from Drake Lance, or possibly also Voidness. They probably came up with it. I'm not an expert on flicking, I just know what people tell me. They both mention, probably come to think of it, that using V is better than your mouse because it's more stable, and keeping the item stable is a good thing. I don't know. Hey, second time is apparently the charm. But yeah. So yeah, if you need to rewind the video and like see in slow motion that, and yeah, I'm not doing all that with my left hand. I take my right hand off of the mouse, trundle my tiny butt over to the keyboard, and I two-hand. And, you know, like my dad does on his keyboard. Yeah. So that is a basic obstacle flick. And yeah, now that we have gone over the basic, now we can do weird stuff with it. Alright, so the first weird thing I'm going to show you is how to place your trees outside the plot boundary. Yep, that's why the Flutterfox is giggling behind a fan there, because the Flutterfox knows what's up. The Flutterfox knows that that tree is definitely not supposed to be there, and definitely not the tree behind it. Now what we're going to start by doing is just lining up a bunch of flooring the distance that we want to place our tree out of bounds. And now there is an important bit. So pay attention to this. Okay. It's very important that on our floor, we don't see grass anywhere. Okay? Because if we see grass anywhere, it means that these flooring tile pieces are not independent of one another. And it's very important that they remain independent of one another. Okay? Alright. So there. I think that should be good. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, and from there, we are going to press our Alt button, which is our group select, or multi-select, if you will. And then from there, we just right-click, or left-click. Not sure why I'm saying it. You guys can see what I'm doing now. Now all that we need to do is just nuzzle it up to the edge of the plot boundary. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And now this is why it was very important that our floors were independent of one another. Because when they're independent of one another, because I'm sure everyone has seen, you know, somebody do this before. Everybody. It's fine. But what some people haven't seen is that when they're independent, you can boop, 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 and boop. Like magic. And now we have our little floor. We got a little island out here ready to place our tree on. And for this one, we are I'm just gonna grab place down a stone floor because that'll work fine enough. And now we see that it's green, so we gotta get in the way, because remember, fam, you can be the thing that's in the way, and or you can be the problem. Alright, and now you just gotta line up your camera as center as you can on that floor, because wherever you're lined up on that block is where your tree is going to go. Then you take your hand off of your mouse, you go over to your keyboard, and we had our tree on 2, so we get ready to do our flicking motion. And we accept the fact that it's probably going to fail the first time, and we move on with our life. Or it's just going to show us up because we made peace with ourselves. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. And now you've got a tree out of bounds. And if you want to change the rotation of your tree, remember that you will have to flick in different the different cardinal direction. So, meaning I was flicking from this way. So you can also flick from that way, and that way. It does mean that your trees are slightly limited, but you know, it's out of bounds. So take it as a win. Sorry, it's out of bounds and there's no anchor attached to it. So yeah, take it as a win. All right, lovelies. For the next part, we will be looking at placing outdoor items anywhere you would like. Not just indoors, but basically changing them from being ground items to what's called tabletop items. So meaning that they can be placed on shelves, tabletops, or other stackable items. So what you're going to need is the ground item that you are going to want. Let's go with the summertime umbrella. Let's go with that. And then we are going to need something that's going to be our little plate to be underneath of it. So we are going to attach it to a paver. But unfortunately, it's not as simple as just attaching it to the paver, because let me show you what happens if we attempt to do our obstacle flick while it's on the ground. See, it's not connected to the paver at all. If we were to use our group select here, it should be grabbing the paver right now, but it's not. So we'll just pick that sucker back up, and we're just going to do a little extra step. You can really use anything for this little bit. I'm going to use a homestead barrel, just because it's one I had close to me before hitting start. And I have my not so mini Magi here. And for those that watch the extra small tiny dragon stream are familiar that anytime you see the not so tiny dragon plushie pop up, that means that I did an item cancellation. And in this case, when we perform this item cancellation, that means we're prepping this for just a lateral float. So we just pop that paver up top there, and then when we pick up this barrel, it's going to toss this paver the distance that we move the barrel. Perfect. And now, since this paver isn't near the ground anymore, it's not going to act as a bumper anymore. So, meaning that you'll notice that we can normally place this down, so we don't have to flick that normally. But if we try and place that up here, it's not a valid placement. So now we line up our floor again. And we take our right hand over and get ready. And 1, 2. Of course not. Round 2. Used up all my good mojo on the first go. And now if we hit Alt, we see that it picks up the entire assembly there. Which this sucker is going to be a little hard to get at. So we just put the barrel up a little bit higher, we grab our wood slab paver, and now we can place it anywhere we like. Like magic. I mean, in all actuality, if you ever wanted to move it again, since I already know that anyone watching this video, since it's PCB specific, you can just cancel place the umbrella off of it. There you go. So yeah, and it's still tethered. So there we go. Real-time problem solved right there in front of your eyes. Cancel placement is just when we do an item cancellation. So we just like grab this guy, and then we just press our number 1 key where not so many Madry is. And so this paver still has the umbrella tethered to it, so we can like move it around, and then it'll just like slingshot back. So there you go. I'm definitely leaving that in. Okay. That actually, I'm going to do the, I'll just breeze through the test one that I did, because the tester that I did, which was the Lily Rattan one, was much better. Because the base is, not as chunky. Sweat around. There we go. And yeah, so let's see. Yeah. That one is very nice. I should have led with that one. But yeah, and so that one, and you can put it up on like a barrel, you can put it on a table. Heck, if you can swing it, you can put it on a shelf. And it's a little bit less noticeable because it's a tiny slab, as opposed to like a massive building block. As always, a massive thanks goes to Artemis Sever of Foxstar Productions for making the music featured in today's video. A massive thanks goes to Voidness for her work on the original Obstacle Flick. Massive thank you and shout out goes to Drake Lance for his discovery and work and testing that he did for the functionality with the Obstacle Flick. Shout out to the Lillian Games for the testing that she has been doing with it. Once again, I strongly recommend that people check out her tutorials. Please see the links in the description. Shout out to everybody at Unofficial Palia Housing. There are way too many people at this point. I'm so sorry to shout out everybody by name, but there are so many people doing such great work there. I strongly recommend that if anybody hasn't joined already, please see the link in the description. Check it out. Be inspired. It's a great group of people. Right. My Twitch streams are every Monday and Wednesday. They start at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I think it's that time, everybody. Because, you know, as always, I've been a tiny dragon with titanic dreams. Hoping your dreams are and always will be just as big. I'll see you next time, everybody. Love you.